Hello. Not in a great mood right now because this is the third time I've had to try and film this because my dog won't stop getting into things while I'm filming. So, I will try this again and I really hope this is going to plan. This is going to be a series that I'm going to start. I couldn't think of anything else to call it, so I'm calling the series Bookalicious. You know, pretty goofy title. Couldn't think of anything else at the moment. Um, but this is just the first. I might change it later on. This one is called Peeves. Peeves? Can I say that any weirder? Anyway, if I look over here, it's because there's a list, and I'm making sure I try and stay on topic as much as possible. So, firstly, let's go on to book covers. There's a couple things I don't like about book covers. Number one would be when I do stuff like this. They put people on my book covers because I'm too dumb, obviously, to come up with what the character will look like in my own head, and you just have to tell me. Obviously, you have to show me a picture, otherwise, my stupid brain just won't get it. Because we are obviously not creative folks anymore, and we need pictures. I just don't like being told, like, well, I'll say shown what the person will look like. Tell me, and then I can get a picture in my own head. But forcing me, I don't know, there's something about forcing an image as the character that sort of ruins it for me. It's not a movie, it's not a TV show, it's not a thing on YouTube, it's a book. Let me imagine. Isn't that the point? The other thing I hate about, let me clarify. People on book covers, when you show this or this, is completely acceptable because you're not really seeing the face. You're not being told what these characters, look like and all of that. And it has to do with the story. So I like that. Anyway, the other thing I hate is movie covers, TV covers, that sort of thing. Um, this one is actually quite minimal when it comes to a book cover that is based off a movie or TV show, because I really hate books that have the movie or TV covers. I actually had another one I forgot to grab. Oh well, it was, I also have a Sookie Stackhouse one that has the TV cover. But sometimes it's unavoidable, like in this case, because this book is actually based off of the movie. So it's based on the motion picture. And I actually have a couple, it turns out. They made a book based off of the Dead Poet Society and the 10th Kingdom. I love the 10th Kingdom. Both 10th Kingdom wasn't a movie, it was a miniseries. I love the miniseries, and I love the book. I almost like the book more than I like the miniseries, which is saying something. But I like me some Scott Cohen. Anywho, so yeah, like this kind of thing, not really avoidable, because this is what it's based off of. But totally avoidable in this case. I like the Count of Monte Cristo movie, so but I haven't read the book yet, so I don't even know if I like the book. But the point is, they're not the same thing, so keep them separate. You know what I mean? While they may share titles, they may share character names, they're of a different breed, I suppose. I think that's how you say it. I'm probably getting that term all fudged up, but yeah. So that's another thing. Then, I do not like but and end starting sentences. I have been told that they are acceptable now and being taught. This is not acceptable to me because I have read and been really enjoying a story, and then suddenly they stop a sentence and then start, but such and such, and then stop it and then go, and I'm like, why wasn't that all one sentence? There was a really good example in the book Unwind by Neil Shusterman. But I don't have the book on me right now. I lent it out to somebody else. So I can't give the exact example, though it's something like, you think this of me, period, but I'm really this, period, and this other thing, period. Why was that 3 sentences? They had made a paragraph out of one sentence. That was all one thought. It, if you thought that the sentence would be too long and like a run-on sentence, either think of a smaller term, use I can't remember the term, the dash, or use a comma or something, or just don't have one thought. But that was all one sentence. What are you doing? It's just, I have never seen a sentence start with but that could not have been tacked on to the sentence before it. They go together. That's what but is. It's this subject, and then in argument of said subject, it's this thing. You don't put a period. And then you need the end to start. Why would you start a sentence? Okay, I have actually started sentences with ends. Sometimes it is inevitable if you're being lazy. Because if you're starting a sentence, like, usually it's in response to somebody. And you go, like, and another thing. I get it then. I've been responding to somebody, and I'll say this and this and this to reply to everything they've written, and then I put, period, new sentence. And the reason for that other thing is, so that's what I put, because it's still going with the message before, but it was a new sentence. If I weren't being lazy, I could think of another way to have started it, but I was being lazy, so I didn't. If you're being paid to write something, you can find something else to write instead of starting your sentences with but and end. And because. That's another one. So technically, I just did but and because. That's what I should say. Not but and because. Too many ends. Anyhow. Although I've seen it, and although you shouldn't spoil food, but I've done it as well. When somebody asks you, well, why'd you do that? And you say, because of, technically you're supposed to say, I did that because, or the reason for that is, something like that. So yeah, moving on, because this is already getting to 8 minutes. The trilogy craze. That needs to stop. The book might be fabulous and everything, and might deserve a sequel, or maybe even a third one, or a fourth one, or a fifth one, or a sixth one. But starting your first book expecting it to be a trilogy annoys the hells out of me. I swear I remember it used to be that you would write a book, and if it were popular, you write a sequel. But you don't plan on it to be a sequel, because when you plan on it to be a sequel, you get another one of my pet peeves, which is the cliffhangers. You wrote that book because you and your arrogant ways were like, I'm gonna get a second book published, I'm gonna get a third book published, and I might get a fourth book published later on. Obviously, the fourth book would have nothing to do with my annoyance with the trilogy craze, but I swear to God, trilogies are popping up everywhere. The Forsaken trilogy, the Hunger Games trilogy, although I think they started it just recently. That seems to be their fault. Well, let's blame them. There's so many other ones. The Divergent trilogy, and while I love Divergent, why are we limiting it to just a trilogy? I want more. The Matched trilogy. Matched, crossed, and reached. No. Why does it have to be a trilogy? Why don't you want your book to do better and have numerous sequels? Like the Haunted ones. What's it called? HON. Something of the Night? I can't remember. I don't read that series, but I know lots of people talk about it. The Vampire Academies, and I just broke my pen. Anyhow. So yeah, the just trilogies and then the cliffhangers. Writing a book expecting a sequel annoys me. Because I think books in a series should be standalones. It should have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Not a beginning, a middle, and another kind of middle. Because obviously now you need this second book to complete the storyline. You have stopped my storyline. To have little bits here and there, maybe, that get tied up in the second one, I can get that. But I should be able to read and read, oh, okay, that was a nice ending. there's another one? Yeah, I get to know more about this. Maybe something else happens. Not, finally, I get to know the ending of the first book. Because I didn't have an ending to the first book. Anyhow, let's see. Oh, right. When the writer talks down to us, the lowly readers, they'll say something happened in it. And then they're like, now let me explain to you what that means. Because I couldn't possibly know what that means. When they use big words, but then they explain the big word. Well, if you're going to explain that big word anyway, don't put the big word in there. Have another word that you think that us lowly, stupid people might understand. But don't, put anti-disestablishmentarianism in your book and then explain what anti-disestablishmentarianism is. Although, if I were to find a book that actually had that word and then explained what it is, I'd be shocked, because it is a jumbled definition. It's not even technically a real word, although it is, but not. Anyway. So, yeah, you know what I mean? I'm gonna keep saying that. When the writer takes forever to release the sequels, case in point, the Song of Ice and Fire series by Mr. George R. R. freaking Forever Martin. I thankfully did not have to deal with his 2005 BS, because I was annoyed enough with what I read. On the fourth book, he he said that the reason I didn't reference these other characters is because I went on and on and on. I now have this. Sorry if the camera's shaking on my laptop. Sitting on my lap. Anyway, I went on and on and on, and I realized it'd be like 3,000 pages long, so I had to cut it in half and edit it. So these other characters are mentioned in the second half, and so that will be released shortly. He took 6 years to publish the part that he supposedly already had written. Don't lie. You did not have it written. Don't lie to us. You are such a lying bastard. You did not have it. It would not take you 6 years to edit something you'd already been working on and editing anyhow. Feast of Crows was this supposedly 3,000 page thing that you were writing, and then you realized maybe 3,000 is too long for a book. So you cut it in half. Okay, you had the half. It was already there. To go. Published. Thank you. Other book. 6 years? Really? And finally he comes out with the Dance with Dragons, I believe. And then the other one, I can't remember what it's called. It's supposed to come out next year. But considering this 6-year hiatus he went on when he already supposedly had written the book, who knows when that would actually come out. But when writers, okay, you planned this as a series. This goes back to the whole thing. You planned it as a series. So you should have those written already and ready to just pump them out one at least every year. You're already making your readers wait a year. A year is a long time if you really like the book. But okay, every year at least, if you wanted a series. If it was unplanned and now you have to scramble to write something, I understand. 2, maybe even 5 years then, because it wasn't expected. But you better stay fresh in the minds of your readers, otherwise they're going to be like, I don't want to go back and read the whole series to understand what's going on now, especially with Mr. Martin's books, because, if I had not read those back to back, I don't think I would have read them, because they kind of have to be read back to back kind of thing. Otherwise, you're like, shoot, what is he talking about? When did that happen? Reference, reference, reference to the other books, Anyhow. Let's see. Rushed romances. What the heck, people? You do not, especially in high school, you might like somebody, a lot. But that's usually hormones talking. But to just instantly say, oh, they're so in love, and then they go off, and they live happily ever after, it doesn't happen, people. This whole Twilight thing, even if he wasn't a vampire, not gonna happen. What's another book? And Unwind, I'm sad to say. The whole, I can't remember the character's name, but the main boy and the girl, they just so happen to really like each other and hook up. Okay, that's kind of weird. In Paper Towns, really? You just had to throw in that they start macking on each other at the end? Um, let's see. But yeah, that sort of thing. You know what I mean? Why? That's because we don't need the kissing part. Just go on to other stuff. That I swear to God, I don't think I have read a book in a long time that did not have love interest. I want to focus on just one character. I am starting to read Shades of Grey by Jasper Purporte, and I just know there's gonna be romance in it. I'm reading Gone by Michael Grant. I just know there's gonna be romance in it, and it's gonna be the main guy and the genius chick. I know that. Rotten Ruins, there's gonna be Ashes. There's gonna be Candlelight Crystal. I already know there's gonna be all these books. I can tell you for a fact there are going to be romances in them. Not a single one I think I will be able to avoid it in, especially this Dark Endeavor. No, it's all gonna have romance in it. Because I guess, I think that in some stories it makes sense in the world, kind of. But, in a lot of cases, not really. Why can't we just have one character? Why can't Rotten Ruin just be about some boy who goes through and has to kill zombies? He's gonna end up hooking up with somebody. Why can't which one? Let's see, Gone. Why can't it just be about how the world and adults go poofy poof? No, they're gonna hook up. And yeah, I don't know. Uh, Covers that have nothing to do with the story. I don't really have an example other than like this one kind of, because she's just red. That's it. It's, it kind of goes with it, but not really. This one doesn't really tell you much about the book itself. Um, this is a bind up, by the way, but it's just the city round and round. Oh, let's see. No, I don't have any other examples. I couldn't find any examples because I actually tend to buy books based off the cover, which is weird. This is the part that I'm trying to mess with. Anyway, I do buy a lot of books based off the cover, so I tend to only get books that, tell me the story through the cover. And so, yeah, but I will say, like, Divergent, love the book, but technically the cover didn't really have anything to do with the bright fire explosion thing. Didn't really get that out of the story. It wasn't any of their symbols. I mean, no. And I saw the Insurgent cover. It's a tree, I think, on fire. I think it's on fire in a fiery circle. Anyway, they're cool covers, but I don't find that they have anything to do with it. There is the cityscape of Chicago in there, which makes sense. That I can totally get behind. But, no. The other stuff, not really. So yeah, those are my pet peeves when it comes to books, and I think I keep losing my voice throughout this week. So, yeah, it's time for liquids and bedtime because it's 2 in the morning and I still have stuff to do. So, thank you for watching. Go ahead and mention your peeves down below. Down there. And you can subscribe up there if you want, because I will have more of these. So, if that sort of thing interests you, subscribe. I don't update as often as I should, but I'm trying to do better. That's why I'm filming some of these on my webcam, because otherwise it takes me forever to be able to use my editor, because it just hates me. So I don't know what's wrong with it. Ever since I got a new laptop, the program won't work. So we're trying to figure out what's wrong with it, but until I can get it to work,